Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics. I'm David Rice. That is Adam. Yesterday, Tuesday, was Earth Day.
Oh, happy belated Earth Day.
Well, thank you. Happy belated Earth Day to you.
Yeah, what'd you do for Earth Day?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh, no. Nothing?
Nothing.
Yeah, well, I think 90% of the population is the same.
But we still use paper straws and plastic straws. Yeah, I know. Way to go. Coming up on the show today, Micah Kretzinger. If you missed his interview from last week, NFL Draft is this weekend. Yep. Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Titletown. We will show you again the full interview coming up on the show. But Jackson College baseball, of course, we were there last week. Myself and Max Fritz on the call. 2 wins in the doubleheader for JC, and they're
still
now
undefeated.
Yeah, they're now 19-16 on the year. Still undefeated when we're out.
Yeah, that's right.
So, thanks to Minuteman Sewer and Drain for helping us bring you high school and college sports on JTV. So here's a few highlights from Jackson College baseball.
Long look down. That one barreled right. Oh, Bowers double play.
Wow.
And David Bowers snow-coned that ball. It almost got out of his glove. He actually wants to take a second look at it to make sure he had it.
Will he attack?
Miller throws the heat by Ramsey. That finishes things in the top of the first. Now the Jackson Jets hot bats, David, are going to get ready to light up the diamond.
There's 321 on the year.
That one, hard grounder. Will it get by the diving second baseman? It eats him up. He recovers and makes the out at first, but the run will score. So that one's going to go as a sacrifice grounder and a run score. Jackson freshman has to go out and shag the balls that go out into the left field and right field corners. Swinging strike 3 there, and that is their third out today. Having a low pitch count will certainly help things out. Oh, and he gets the call on the outside.
Wow.
Skippers will not be happy about the ump zone starting this game. He's got to be swinging. He cannot rely on the umpire to give him the call. And he looked for that one, tried to get it, could not. Carolden gets the strikeout. That ends things here in the second. Score remains. We're so far commanding the mound. That one hit deep out to left field. Montgomery can't track it down. It's over his head. He's going to run all the way to the track. That should score a run for the Skippers. Here he comes, rounding third. It's going to be a play at the plate. He dives in uncontested. Skippers tie things up after the Beltnick double. That one ripped barrel to the bat. It takes a weird hop off the grass. Right fielder able to corral it. It'll be a play at the plate again. Again uncontested. Skippers get another run across with Ramsey's RBI. Good play by Madison out there in right field, though, to corral that weird bounce. That one barreled. It's going back. Montgomery's on his horse. He's at the fence. No chance. That one is out of here for the Skippers. Flowers going to get to skip around the bases here as he rifled one out of left field, well over Montgomery's head, and just like that, the Skippers break things open and lead 4-1.
Well,
There we go. Miller gets out of the inning. You can see he's definitely frustrated with himself. He's led a lot of runs across the board. Skippers lead 5-1. Might try to get him to fish here. He doesn't, but it is called strike 3 down the outside. So that's strike 3 on Grindy, and that ends action here.
With the way that the zone's been called, so changes how you look at it.
But Miller doesn't need a zone on that one. 3 straight strikeouts. Miller's got his mojo back.
Last game, 313 on the year.
Nelson grounds that one to shortstop, and there's the force play at second base. That'll do things here in the fourth. Jets come close, but still trail by 4.
Despite that big third inning for St. Clair, exceptional.
That one flied high. Wind takes it foul. No trouble for the third baseman, Kopus. And that will conclude things here in the top of the fifth. Now we saw here the first time we broadcast live Jackson Jets baseball. Hard grounder gets past the first baseman. That will score 2 Jets, if not more. Here comes the first run. The ball dies in the grass. It's an errant throw in. 2 Jets across the plate off Grindy's bat. And now they only trail by 2. Anything hit remotely hard. Just like that. Will that drop in play? Right fielder ranging over. It does. It drops in play. That will score 1 run. Quick rifled into third. Keeps both Jets at first and second. But Kopis adds another RBI to his resume. And now the Jets only trail by 1. Here we go. Sends it in. Montgomery's going to dribble it up center. Handled by a shortstop. They get the force at second. And that'll conclude things in the fifth. The Jets rally stops a run short. Treams with the delivery. Gets it rifled right back in his face, out to center field. But right there to make the catch is Owen Zimmerman. And Zimmerman helps out his pitcher right there, ending. Great diving hit. Gets past the second baseman. That's going to plate 1 run. Here he comes, streaking around third. He's in safe. The first baseman didn't know what to do with it as Bowers capitalizes and moves into scoring position himself. Not only the hit, the 2 RBIs, but the base running wherewithal to get to second base.
Well, Bowers showing why he's our spotlight player to watch. Again, just past the glove, letting both those runners score. 2.
Leon fires another one in. That one is hooked out to left field. Will it drop? No, it gets past the head of the diving left fielder. It's going to score 1. Kopis thinks about 3 and thinks better of it. Stops with a 2-bagger RBI, his 3rd RBI on the day, and he smoked Taylor out there in left field. Leon kicks, fires. That one hit. It's going to be short out to right field. Center fielder ranging in on it, but it'll be the second baseman who calls him off and makes the play. Regis makes it. Jets come back. They now lead by 2, heading into the final inning of play right around the bend on JTV. That one ripped. It's going to find the gap. It might play to Skipper. Here comes Montgomery. He'll be too late, but they're going to try to get it to third. They might have him dead to rights. Oh, they had him, but he drops the ball. Bowers cannot squeeze it at third. They had him. And Treams fires looking for the strikeout. It's batted back up the middle. Center fielder racing forward. He makes the catch, but the run will come across for the Skippers. They tie things up here at 7. But that diving web gem of a catch by Owen Zimmerman out there in center saves it. Go ahead. No, what? We have a double play. They're saying the third baseman
he left the
early.
bag early. That's it.
So, here, okay, be headed that direction. Ball there will find the gap. It does. Speedy, oh, he falls in the base path. And he runs back safely. Rashad Franklin almost cost his team right there as he got put on skates. They check him. Throw it in. That one could do it. Will it drop in front of the right fielder? It does. It gets by him. He can't find the ball. Here comes Rashad Franklin streaking around third base. It'll be a play at the plate to decide the game. Rashad Franklin is in there standing up. And the Jackson Jets walk things off in the bottom of the 7th. They will win by 1 off the amazing feat of the speedy Rashad Franklin and the bat of Noah Atherholt. Great way. Barrios fires that one right down the middle. Strike 3 swinging. And that gets the Jets out of the top of the first with no harm done. Score still 0-0. Grindy barrels that one up. Yanks it to right field. Right fielder playing so far back, it takes him forever to come onto the ball. That'll easily score the man in scoring position. And the Jets are on the board first. And if you're wondering what the 2 players behind the fence are doing, is that one skied to right field. That one playable. He looks it into his glove. That will end things here in the first inning. I'll talk about Bellomo. Enzo Bellomo. Oh! Bellomo out with the ranging, jumping catch by Atherholt, the spotlight player of the game. He's turned it on here. Wonder if it was a carp or a mackerel. That one, though, Fanning. And that will end things here in the top of the third as David again reconsiders his life choices of broadcasting with me. Two outs. Man on third, and there it is. Van Ness gets him swinging. That ends things here in the second. And right there, just like that, top of the third has come, gone, and went.
Great throw by Jones behind the plate.
Every pickoff should count for a pitch attempt. As Bowers puts one back up the middle, the shortstop gloves it. There's one, and can't get it. So 1 out, but a run does come across the plate to score, so Bowers will be credited with the RBI. But I believe he does. It's low. Burkhart gets a bat on it. Does not eat up the second baseman. He makes the out, and just like that, we're through 3 here at Jackson College. That one hit right back up. Second baseman finds it into his chest, fires it over to first. They get the out. That'll end things here in the top of the fourth. I won't spoil it, but you definitely... Oh, they get the runner in a pickle. But Franklin looks like he's going to go home. It was a designed play, and they get the run, and the runner is safe at second. That worked to perfection for the Jets. An absolute disaster for the Skippers.
If Franklin came home there.
And as flies it in, that's a foul tip, strike 3. It hit the bat, found the catcher's mitt, and that ends things here in the fourth. Grounds it now to second base. Easily tosses over to first for the final out in the top of the fifth. The Jets maintain their 3-run lead, and no damage done. 2-1 count. He might get a ribby right here. And it eats up the shortstop. Fielding errors continue to plague St. Clair. That plate's 1. That plate's 2. Jets across the board. Burkhart gets 2 RBIs on a base hit. The Jets extend their lead, now leading by 5. Situation. Runner goes. And again, they fake out the Skippers.
Oh.
Great job to get down his Atherholt before he got his head taken off. And excuse me, that was Sebastian Nelson. Nelson, good job to slide down as the catcher is ranging over to try to make the... Only 2 outs though, so Skipper is very close to getting out of this thing. But just again, the shortstop makes the poor decision, but he goes back to second. And he's able to get back to the bag. The shortstop was going to second base to cover the bag when the second baseman was going there. Miscommunication again leads to a run scored for the Jets. As the runner goes for third, it's a double steal. They're both in. The ball gets away. That'll be another run scored for the Jets on yet another error in the field. The catcher overshot the third baseman. Another run comes in for the Jets. The lead is now 8. That one hits him. That is a free run. 9 runs cross the plate. After Grindy takes one for the team, literally, and gets an RBI for it. Big little pitch coming, all runners in motion with the 3-2, and that's another run walked in. Double-digit lead now for the Jets.
And that's it, because it's 10 runs after 5 innings.
That is, so we got cut very short here. Thank goodness we were able to get our 5th inning squeeze in, but that is a mercy rule here in college baseball. If you're leading by 10 through 5, that is it.
Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. I'm David Rice. That's Adam. Thanks for watching and listening. Special guest joining us today on the show, Jackson High School graduates, also playing college ball for Saginaw Valley State University and putting his name into the 2025 NFL Draft in my favorite city where the draft is being held.
Oh, geez.
Titletown, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Micah Kretzinger joining the show. Micah, thanks for doing this for us, and thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, I know probably with, your busy schedule now, you probably, I got to imagine, don't get to do a whole lot regarding things back here at home, right in Jackson.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm currently training, and I go back and forth between Saginaw and Novi just for training purposes, being able to be at the field, having better access to recovery. They're allowing me in the training room and the at Saginaw. So it's been awesome just being able to have those resources close by and them giving me the best opportunity to be fresh going into a camp.
Right, absolutely. So starting a little bit here in background, high school, and before you got to Saginaw, of course, we had quite a few J-High football games on JTV. A lot of archive footage here to show. But growing up here in Jackson, playing for the Vikings, how did your community or family or friends did they influence you at all to increase your passion for football or want to keep playing football, or were there any specific people that influenced you in that?
I would say my dad and my grandpa got me into football early in fourth grade, and so they were just trying to. Well, my grandpa introduced me to Lions, and they weren't good back then, and so he's just trying to explain how football worked, and this is the hometown team, and I was like, wow, I didn't care if they were 0-16, 1-15, like that. I just love ball, and so like watching them go out there and watching Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford go out there and ball out like was awesome to me. So I always wanted to be like Calvin, and then I ended up becoming a running back. So then I was like, okay, who's the Lions running back? And they had points there was like Joique Bell, um, not DeAndre Levy, that was a linebacker, but there were a couple backs, and then my grandpa introduced me to Barry Sanders. And so then I was like, oh, Barry Sanders, like, who is this guy? And then, that kind of took off from there. Now I was also a LaDainian Tomlinson fan when he was with the Chargers. And so like that was probably my number one player outside of the Lions players. So yeah, I was always excited by them. But then my dad taught me how to play. He taught me the rules. He was always good on teaching me the rules and how to actually, catch a football, how to throw a football just in case, I got asked to do any of those things when I went to a team. So, yeah, my fourth grade year, I went, played running back, and then I kind of got played a little bit of defense too. Uh, so that was kind of awesome. I played a little safety, a little linebacker, and when I was younger too. So that was kind of just kept going and transcending into my middle school and high school years. And so I also had a lot of friends in Jackson. Zion Hardrick especially. That was my running mate at outside linebacker at Jackson High. Brady Lawrence, Guillermo Barrett. I mean, we consider ourselves the best linebacker core to come through Jackson High ever. I mean, all four of us went to college, and I mean, I don't know how many other guys can say the whole starting linebacker core went to college to play football. So we feel like that's a high honor that we have, and they pushed me a lot when I was in high school and even middle school. Brady Lawrence pushed me so much to become a better player, and his dad was awesome. They were always pushing me to be a great player, and of course, my mom has always been in my corner. She's my number one fan, so anything I put my mind to, she'd always help me out there. And once she realized I was good at football and loved football, she was always making sure that I was doing the right thing to, you know, to get myself and elevate myself to become the best athlete, and then overall become the best football player as possible. So there's a lot of people, and I'm not even talking. I haven't even put any coaches in there other than Coach Lawrence, like Coach Parker, Coach Barberry, God rest his soul. Um, Coach Slater, Coach Durr. Like there are so many coaches and people that have helped me just from Jackson that have got me to this point right now. And so I'm forever thankful for Jackson for that.
That's awesome. And we were just playing some highlights up here against when you were against Chelsea, and you were running through them on both sides of the ball. So I definitely see that maybe that Joique Bell little influence there as well. I kind of see it. So like when you think back to like Friday nights at Withington Stadium, what's the first memory for you, or the best memory that that comes to mind for you?
I'll give you both. So my first memory was when I got pulled up to varsity as a freshman for the playoffs, and I just remember putting on the varsity jersey. We had the camo numbers on, with the orange lining on the outside, black jerseys. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's go! Like I'm hyped for this. So, yeah, Coach Farley told me I was gonna be moved up to varsity for the playoffs, and I was so ecstatic because that was my dream. Like before I wanted to play college, I wanted to play Jackson High varsity football under the lights, 7 p.m. on Fridays. So just when you get that call and you feel like you put a lot of work in, and I'm a freshman, so now I really don't know anything. Like I just know how to run the ball and I know how to tackle to be a good athlete. But then I realized there was levels to it, and um, I didn't play that. I didn't play my freshman year on varsity, but just being able to see those guys, and like Corey Pryor and LaJuan Bramlett and those guys have a historic season that year. That was like, wow, okay, so this is the work they put in. They have this good camaraderie, they have good chemistry, and yeah, so that was like kind of my first taste of, wow, this is Jackson High football. And then probably my best memory was when we went 9-0 my senior year. So like on the opposite side of the timeline, just being conference champions, being undefeated, the first undefeated team and who since 1980 or the 1800s or whatever. So um, it was awesome, like having that title and knowing that I was a big part of that reason why our senior class was able to do something incredible that hasn't been done in a long time. And I know it didn't. The outcome in the playoffs didn't happen like how we wanted it to, but it's still awesome being a part of that team and being etched in history as conference champions, 9-0. We were like top 15 in the state at one point, so regardless of division. So I mean, it's awesome. Like you put all those milestones together, and I'm forever like I said, I'm forever thankful for those memories, and I'll never forget them.
Yeah, man. And like, we were looking, you were here at JTV, you were player of the year that year in your senior season. And, what you guys were able to do for all fans of Jackson football, it was pretty special that season. I have to think that like, at every step, I feel like you've kind of been like the underdog, right? Coming out of Jackson High that maybe doesn't get as much attention, and then being able to go play football on a collegiate level, and then still even there, you're coming into the draft being D2, and it's like you might kind of have like a chip on your shoulder to be like, no, like, you watch my film, and it's like you can tell like I'm playing NFL level football. Do you feel like that you kind of have a little bit of like an underdog nature, or do you feel like, what do you think?
Absolutely, like you gotta have that dog in you, and like when people say I'm underrated, I just know like, oh, you haven't checked my film. Like I know you haven't checked my film, because if I was at Division One and these stats came out, it'd be a first round talk kind of thing. So of course I always feel underrated. Like you said, coming out of high school, I didn't have too many offers. I had basically 3 or 4 Division II offers, and I prefer walk on to go to Central Michigan. So I've always known about being an underdog. Even when I was in college, like my first 2 years, I was mainly a special teams guy, and then I finally was able to get a starting role my junior year, and I kind of blossomed from there. But for sure, like I love having the underdog title on me, because sometimes you reach that high mark, and people determine you as a first round pick, or you know maybe they think you're better than what you really are. Then there's that sense of entitlement, and I can't stand that. I never want that to happen to me. Like I feel too entitled to keep working, to keep getting better. So I love having that underdog mentality. Like let me be an underdog, and I'll prove to you why I'm not. But that's just the confidence I have in myself and the work that I've been putting in. So um, for sure, like there's definitely an underdog mentality to me.
I love it. And, I was looking back at some of the games from previous seasons, and I saw that in 2023, you had 4 pick sixes, which was a D2 record. Grand Valley against Grand Valley, which I went to Grand Valley, so that hurt a little bit. Davenport, Northern Michigan, and then on the road against Michigan Tech. So I'm just wondering, like, do you feel like when you can showcase those moments on film, is that you kind of being like, hey, I'm not just a good tackler, like I can make a difference in this game, and I can change the course of this game if you were to pick me in the NFL draft.
For sure. And like we know, like if you people who watch NFL football now know that the league is so spread out. There's so much space you have to cover. It's a passing league. Let alone the exception from last year, with Saquon Barkley and a couple of running backs, going over 1,500, 1,700 yards, 2,000. Like, it's crazy. Like, the running backs are coming back, but I for sure want to be able to showcase that I'm versatile and um, everyone's for sure gonna look at the interceptions because it's hard for a linebacker to get an interception, let alone 10, and then return 5 for a touchdown in a career. So I mean, I'm definitely proud to hang my hat on that, just showing I got great coverage skills. I have great hands when the ball's in my area. I feel like it's my play to make, and so um, I know wide receivers and tight ends and running backs all think the same thing, and so you kind of got to have that mentality on defense. You got to give your offense an extra possession, or you got to, make a play and be a playmaker. And so when you get the opportunity, you just got to take the ball in. If you get a lane, take it and try to make the best out of it while also securing the ball because you don't want to get their offense a chance to get it back. So yeah, I for sure love that part of the game because it's super underrated. I think people just think that my coverage skills are just from the quarterback throwing me the ball consistently. But if you look at most of the interceptions, I'm making a play. I'm breaking on the ball. I'm in man coverage. I just undercut a route. Like it's a lot. It's not just I'm in zone drop and the quarterback's throwing it to me. Like it's a lot of acrobatic, a lot of athletic plays being made in coverage. So yeah, I definitely love that on my film, and I'm excited for any team that wants to be able to see that film.
Yeah, and watching some of those interceptions, I mean, you got up there. You got up there to get some of those interceptions. So those are super impressive. Shows what kind of athlete you are.
So coming out of high school and then going to Saginaw Valley, was there a point like in high school? Obviously, all of us knew, especially us doing the games from JTV, we knew, what kind of talent you were. But was there a point for you where you got to high school, you guys started having success, or you did personally, and there was a point where you're like, okay, I know I can play after high school and this can continue. Did you have any point in high school where it's like, okay, I know I can keep playing after this? And if you do, what was that moment for you like?
Yeah, when I went to a Michigan State camp, going into my sophomore year, I knew I was going to be on varsity just because I know I got pulled up for my freshman year, and so I had a lot of confidence going into that summer. I went to a couple camps. Then I went to a Michigan State camp, and I saw that I was the tallest on the linebackers that they had there at that time, and so I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm a sophomore I'm a sophomore in high school, and this guy's a junior or a sophomore or senior, wherever he was, in college, and we're the same height, and the only difference is that he's probably got a little bit more mass and strength on him, and so." I felt like at that point I was faster than basically anyone. I was a young kid, so I had a bunch of confidence about my speed, especially running track. But I knew at that point there was a physical appearance that I had that I could go play college football, and then really just like continuing on throughout that year, like just having confidence, knowing that I'm a young guy on varsity. Like not very many people get to do that, and if you do, you're pretty elite. So at that point, I felt like I had a great opportunity to play college football and put my skills at the college level and kind of go reach my goals from there.
What factors led you to choose Saginaw Valley State, and how did SVSU help your development as a player at the college level?
I chose Saginaw because they were the ones that really showed me the most love. Like they showed me that I was wanted in their system. Um, I was a player that apparently they were looking for a long time. I didn't even know that they were looking at me until my senior year before I was about to commit about a couple weeks. I didn't even know I had an offer from them, but I just knew that they kept showing up to the school. I had a good camp going into my senior year at Saginaw, and so I was just I was wondering if I was going to get offered, and then the head coach said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we have a full ride scholarship for you. It'll be full tuition." And me and my mom were in the room like, what? Like we didn't even know what had happened. So yeah, but yeah, they have awesome facilities. They had basically my backup plan. I wanted to originally go into sports management, but they didn't have that, but they had exercise science, and so that was my backup plan if any schools I wanted to choose didn't have sports management. So that's one of the reasons why I chose Saginaw. And then in terms of development, it's actually crazy because once I signed my national letter of intent, the old coaching staff left a week after that.
Oh,
Oh
So
no.
I was like super confused on like what I was gonna do, and I didn't know if I was gonna stay because I already signed my national letter of intent. So basically, like I signed my, contract to go there, and and then I hear from the new linebacker coach and the new head coach, which ended up being Coach Brady, and then the linebacker coach was Coach Prudhomme, and they assured me things would be okay. I went up and visited them a couple times during spring ball that year. And so I realized that I was still in a good spot, and you know, and my thing is that we have an indoor, we have great facilities outside, we have a great field. I like the guys I'm coming in with. Like I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna stay with it, and um, I can't thank Coach Prudhomme enough for developing me into the player I am today. Just because he was able to unlock kind of that football instinct that allowed me to take another step in my game. So, just watching a ton of film with him, going over different techniques on block destruction, how to get better zone eyes in my zone drops, um, what kind of concepts I could see, what kind of run plays I could see, where I had to fit, where I can make plays, where I can mess up. And he allowed me to mess up a lot, which allowed me to end up ultimately um, being able to take more shots. And, you know, it allowed me to, like I said, allowed me to become the player I am today. So I can't thank him enough for all the things that he's done for me.
well, I think clearly it paid off because you were a finalist for the Cliff Harris Award, and for anybody that doesn't know what that award is, it's pretty much best small college defensive player in the country award is pretty much what it is. So that's a huge honor, and I want to know what that recognition meant to you to be able to receive that award in your senior season, to be nominated for it, and how do you think that kind of helps you stand out from everybody else that's pursuing to be drafted in the NFL?
It is a huge honor because I mean, you look at guys like Matt Judon, Grand Valley guy who ended up going to the Patriots and the Falcons, but he was a finalist for the award too. So I mean, if you look at the lineage of those guys who have been finalists and who have won and have had an opportunity to go to the NFL, they usually have a high success and they usually have high success. And so being able to be a finalist for that award, because I was a finalist my junior and senior year, so um, I'm sick I couldn't win it, but it's still awesome being nominated for that award. Um, that's a huge honor because I mean you only get 10 people to be a finalist, and to be a finalist two times in a row. um it speaks volume to the work I put in and what I put on tape and what other coaches think about me, and what the nation thinks about me. And so like I was super ecstatic when I heard that. But of course the competitor in you wants to win, but um no, I can't. I'm super appreciative of being on such a huge list of guys who have been able to be finalists on that list.
For sure. So with trying to, stay focused on your craft, especially with the draft coming up, but also trying to finish out this semester and this school year, even before right now. But how have you been able to balance, this high level of athletics, but also with the books as well and academics? How have you been able to try to balance both of that? Because I gotta imagine that's difficult, especially playing Division II college football and the success that you guys have had and trying to stay focused on that, but also trying to stay locked in the classroom.
So I was working on my master's my last year of football, so last fall. But I took a break actually so I could focus on training for my pro day, and then just being I knew that I had to draft this upcoming spring, and so I just kind of took a break from it. Um, I'll be done next year, so yeah, I just want to give all my effort into this football journey right now. But I'll definitely be picking it back up in the next year or so.
And I think that hard work for the pro day paid off because your stats in the pro day were ridiculous. And I think that kind of ties back to a topic that's been on this show and that we've talked about a lot is like specialization in youth sports. So like a lot of people are thinking maybe you should only do one sport and get really good at that one sport, but I think you're kind of a shining example of like you were you were in the 100-meter dash, the long jump. You were conference champ in that, and you played basketball. Do you think that all kind of helped carry over into football and led to how well you perform not just on the football field but also pro day leading up?
For sure, because I mean, there's pros and cons to both, but I'm part of the opinion that thinks that the more sports you do and the more coaching you can get, um, that's going to help you in the long run because coaches want to see you be coachable. And like, if you're able to take different coaching from football coaches, then, in track, you have a sprint coach, you have a jumps coach. So you got to make sure that, you're taking what you learned from sprinting and, on long jump, you got to apply those sprint techniques. Then you got to jump. Um, I feel like all those things correlate with each other. And so, that definitely helped me like for my pro day just because again it was a new type of learning I had to be coached on how to run, um, how to do my short shuttles, how to do my three cones, how to do your vert. Because there's a little couple techniques that you have to learn when you're training and doing all this stuff for the pro day. And so I think it was like I look back and saw so much benefit from being coached from so many different people. Not even just like in high school, but just growing up, like having different types of coaching, having passive coaching, having aggressive coaching, having guys be on you all the time, like having kind of like a not more nonchalant coaching. Like so, I've seen it all, and so I've seen what I've liked, I've seen what I don't like, I see where I can, kind of take some pointers from, and so that definitely helped. And then like just athleticism part of it, I was able to like basketball. You got to rebound, and I was a big rebounder for my team. So that helped me in the vert, and then just having agile movements. You got to be agile on the basketball court. Same thing with my short shuttle and my three cone, and it helped me on the football field as a linebacker because you're in this box, and then you gotta avoid linemen. You gotta have good lateral agility. You gotta have good movement skills, and so I think that helped. And then just speed from track that helped me in my game as well. Just having to run down quarterbacks and running backs and having great pursuit. Um, that all tied in. So I know it's kind of a long-winded answer about all that, but
No, that's awesome.
I think there's so much power in playing multiple sports and not just specializing in one.
Yeah, and like, specifically we're talking about your pro day, like your bench was absolutely insane. Is that something that you worked on specifically, or was that kind of just, part of your normal routine by happenstance? You just, blew everybody out of the water.
Uh, it was something I worked on for the pro day for sure. Like we did a lot of bench workouts. Like I don't even think we did anything like we did some curls and triceps, like just get the arms like a little bit more toned. But when you're doing this training, you have to focus so vigorously on what you're doing, and so like if you're doing anything other than bench, like it doesn't help you because it's not where you're working towards. Like now after the pro day, you can kind of get into different workouts for upper body, but for the most part, you're doing a lot of bench press, dumbbell bench press, trying to get strengthen both arms. Um, yeah, so I think like that. I also was a workout warrior. Um, when I was in high school, I worked a lot with Q Teflon and Mario Selby. So shout out to those two guys right there for helping me get the strength up. But I think like it ties back into high school and just being a weight room warrior and being able to apply that into into the pro day workouts. And I always knew I wanted to be one of the strongest linebackers in my class. And so, when the opportunity presented itself for the pro day, and I wanted 30 reps, but I had 29. I had anywhere from 28 to 30. So uh, on my goal sheet. So no, that was awesome. Like I got to 28 and I was like 29. I'm like, okay. I was like, 30, and I got halfway up and I couldn't get it up. But no, I'm super thankful for those guys, and then also for the place I train with, Jim Kilbasso and Impact Sports Performance, for helping me get that get those techniques up and get my stamina up to be able to do that.
For sure. So, what has your training regimen looked like in preparation for the draft? And have you tailored it in any way to meet NFL standards, if there are any? But what's your training regimen look like in preparation coming up for the draft?
So I would say right now I'm not like I wouldn't say it's tapered towards that. I think it's just like the consistency. I mean, at the end of the day, like you gotta train your butt off. Like you gotta be in condition, you gotta be fast, you gotta be explosive. So like trying to find the best workout for me um has been Monday. So when I go up to Impact and Novi, we do speed on Mondays. Tuesdays are agility, Thursdays are conditioning, and then Fridays are conditioning and agility. So with a little bit of speed, it's kind of like a total body thing. And then we have a lift, 2 upper body, 2 lower body days. And then Wednesday's more of a flexibility, mobility, stabilization day. But I kind of incorporate that into every day just because I want to be as pliable and as flexible as I can be going to an NFL camp. Because knock on wood, but injuries happen, and it usually happens to less pliable people, the least flexible people, and so just trying to make sure that um, that's probably bigger than anything that I've been working on so far, is just making sure that I'm flexible and um, I can have I'm strong in my joints. So that's really what my training is right now. And then, uh, like I said, just trying to be fast and explosive, and being able to showcase all my athletic traits to any NFL team that wants to pick me.
Are there? I know you mentioned a few players that you've looked up to, especially when you were younger. I know you mentioned a few NFL guys earlier, but are there any particular NFL players or maybe other players that you look up to or that you've tried to model your game after? I know you mentioned LaDainian Tomlinson. Of course, Barry Sanders. Matthew Judon, I know from Adams School,
I was
Green
gonna say,
Valley.
yeah,
But
one of my favorites.
are there any other guys that you've looked up to or try to model your game after?
Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of linebackers because I'm a big LB fan. Um, I love Fred Warner. I love Roquan Smith. Those are the top two backers in my opinion in the NFL. So they bring such a versatility, and they tackle so well, and they're in coverage so well. They do a lot of things well, and so I've really looked up to those two. Dre Greenlaw, he's kind of like my NFL comp, just from the height, size perspective. He's kind of like 232, 230. He might be 225 occasionally, but he's a big, strong physical backer who complimented Fred Warner when he was really doing well there in San Francisco. Um, so yeah, I love those guys. Demario Davis from New Orleans, he's a thumper, um, but he's been in the league for over 12 years now. So that's a guy who just had consistency and longevity in a sport where the NFL sometimes stands for not for long. So being able to see a linebacker that's been able to have that kind of consistency um, and that kind of production throughout throughout those years has been awesome. Same thing with Levante Davis from Tampa Bay. He's a kind of an underrated linebacker, but he's a guy who's consistently productive. He was a big time player on that Super Bowl team when Tom Brady and even Devin White were there. So he's a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I love watching him play. Just being able to play sideline to sideline, controlling that Tampa defense. Hasn't gone anywhere. Has been loyal to his team. That speaks a lot. And then there's of course like legends like Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor, Junior Seau, um, Zach Thomas. So like I can talk about all this stuff for hours, but no, like I love linebacker play, and I just think it's such an underrated aspect in the game that a lot of people don't talk about, just because people want to talk about edge rushers and corners, and it's not always the most glorious position, but you gotta have those guys in the middle to make the defense run.
Well, and like what a lot of people say too, it's like you're almost like to an extent, you're almost like the quarterback of the defense when you're playing that position. I mean, it's not an easy position to play, and you're involved in every play, right? You're getting beat up constantly, but like one thing that you need for that position is, of course, I'm a big Lions fan, so of course I'm gonna bring up grit and all those guys that you mentioned. Those are all gritty guys. Like for you, what do you're probably gonna hear this a bunch, but like how do you define grit?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I define grit as basically just the willpower of and just overcoming adversity. At some point, like we'll use the Lions for example, just because they're the main parts of grit right now. But they lost a bunch of defensive players. They lost Aiden Hutchinson. They lost McNeil, Carlton Davis at points. Anzalone was out for a little bit. So like guys like Jack Campbell are exactly what grit stands for. And so a guy that he was a rookie last year. It kind of had some things not go his way, but he didn't complain. He didn't cry about what happened, and he just took another step in his development. And we're seeing the benefits of that now. But just having that overcoming adversity, whatever comes your way, being able to tough through that situation and finding a solution rather than finding a way to be defensive about it. I think that's a huge part of grit. Just being adaptable, that too. So I think there's a lot of things that go into grit, but for sure being adaptable and finding the will to get things done.
Yeah, and I feel like, throughout your career, on a high school level and obviously college, you've had it. And, watching some of this film from your high school days, and it almost, when you were running back, it almost seemed like you're Derrick Henry running through these guys. It was super impressive and always fun to watch. What does it mean for you to go back to Jackson? What does it mean to you to kind of represent Jackson on this stage? Because, that's just as much as Saginaw Valley's tied to you, Jackson is tied to you from where you're from. So like, what does that mean to be able to represent that? And then also the kids going to J High, what do you kind of say to them? These young players, kind of to show them like, hey, it's possible. You can do this.
Definitely. I know Kari Willis was from Jackson, but he was from Lumen, and so just being the guy from Jackson High to be able to show these kids that the dream is possible. Like you can do it from Jackson High. I've always wanted to be that guy. Some guys transferred out from Jackson High when I was in high school and went to Lumen Christi and went to a couple of these other schools, thinking that they get better opportunities, and that did happen for some. But I just wanted to be the one to say that if you do at Jackson High and you give everything you have into what you're doing, into your craft. And I know it's hard for young people to, especially now, just to be able to put all of their eggs into a basket and try to give their best into being in the moment. um I would just say if you really want your goals, like what are you willing to do for it? When I was in high school, like I knew I wanted to play college football, and so my mom would make my meals, rice, chicken. I would eat rice and chicken every day for lunch, for dinner, like that. Like, but I knew that's what my goal was, and I wanted to be as lean and explosive as possible. And I knew that's what I had to do. I was eating like I cut out sweets, like it was crazy. Like I went on a crazy diet just to say I had the body and just to look like I had the look of a college football player. And again, those trains I had, Teflon and Selby, they were so critical in my development too, and just developing my body um into being not how would I say this, develop it into, I say like a race car. Like you want to fuel a car, like you can't give normal gas to a F1
Oh
or
yeah.
a NASCAR car.
Yep.
So um, just being able to fuel my body in the right way, like that changed my mindset. So I mean, if any of these kids are listening, man, from Jackson High, you can do it. You just gotta find a way to um, push through some of these adversity things. You gotta have a little bit of grit. You gotta have want. Um, and anything you want is possible. You just gotta look past the obstacles and try to give yourself the best situation as possible.
Um, I mean, I'm not, an athlete. I don't have the athletic ability by any means, but you said you cut out sweets, and that just made me, it hurt me too.
Little
'Cause
tough
I
for
don't
you?
think yeah. Well, we just talked on the last show about our masters dinner and what we'd have for
Yeah.
dessert, and that would hurt me
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
not
say.
have that. But just before we go, beyond football, do you have any other passions or interest things you like to do outside of football and school? And have any of those things influenced your approach to the game at all?
Yeah, I like helping on the community. So when my mom was working for Jackson High for the community closet, it was always awesome to see her kind of. Um, it was awesome to see her work with different kids, work from different backgrounds. She was always giving out clothes and foods and snack and all kinds of things to kids who needed it that day. Um, so I think seeing that kind of community like helping out the community has always been a big part of me. So when I came up here, I volunteered. When I came to Saginaw, when I say that, I volunteered to speak at kids schools, read for them. We had a little coat drive. We ran some camps up here. So yeah, definitely just being able to be out in the community and because you want the community to help and support you. So uh, if you can go back out in the community and help and support them, I think it plays a big way and plays a big role. And I've had some kids come up to me and they remind me that I was at a camp they were working at, and they're like, "Oh, number 6, we remembered you at the camp." And so just having those kind of memories, they last you forever. And so I'm always big into community service. I'm big into helping kids play football. Like I coached a couple linebackers up here who are in high school, um, all for free. Like I didn't I didn't charge them anything just because I knew when I was a young kid, if there weren't too many linebackers that were just like that. And so um, just being able to have that kind of opportunity to help out these kids in a way that maybe they do potentially play college football, maybe they don't, but just being able to have that memory and being able to put that kind of impact on a young man or a young woman is last with you for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, the 2025 NFL draft right around the corner, and April 24th, 5th, and 6th, in my favorite city, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Keep having to bring Green Bay into this.
So we, of course, from all of us at JTV, we've been following you since we've been covering you, and some old footage we showed earlier from JTV and basketball as well. So from all of us at JTV and everybody watching, I wish you nothing but more success, and hope to hear your name called. And it's been fun, and it's been a pleasure watching your journey. So thanks for taking the time to do this for us, and good luck the rest of the way. So we appreciate it a lot.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Mike Kretzinger, Jackson High School graduates, and Division II All-American DB for Saginaw Valley State University. So thanks to Micah, and thanks to our crew, of course, and we'll be right back here on JTV. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back on JTV. Of course, thank you again, the Insurance Circle Agency, and photos from JC Baseball online too at jtv.tv. So, and again, as always, a great interview with Micah Kretzinger, a great kid. So, thanks to him for joining the show. And
he gets 5 big booms.
Can we play that on
No,
here?
we can't.
Okay. Yeah, I know we can. Just
The second half of it's fine, but
yeah. But no, thanks to Micah for joining the show. Hope to hear his name called
here, I can't play this.
this weekend.
Those are the
What's
5
that?
those are the 5 big booms.
Oh,
Big boom.
Okay.
Big booms.
That's not what I thought that
Oh.
clip meant. I don't know.
No, those are
I
the
was
5.
thinking something else. Where'd you get that at?
You don't know about the Costco guys?
No.
Oh man. Okay, we're gonna have to talk after this. I'll show you the Costco guys.
Yeah. Well, you can tell me in a minute because we got to wrap up
That's
here.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Pataki Orthodontics, thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency, Minuteman Sewer and Drain for helping us bring you high school and college sports on JTV. So thanks to Micah, and thanks to JC for having us as always. That's Adam. I'm David. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather. 82 and sunny on Thursday.
Let's go.
And then rain Friday.
Aww.
So have a good weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
Bye-bye.